I watched The Incredibles recently, and the first thing I want to get off my chest when talking about this movie is that this is Pixar's greatest movie of all time. I don't think Pixar has any movie touching The Incredibles. This is one of the best superhero movies of all time. It's one of the best animated movies of all time, and like I said, it is Pixar's best movie of all time. So yeah. But while watching this movie, I was thinking to myself, like, is this movie really for kids? Because there are so many things in this movie, so many moments, so many elements that are just like, kids are supposed to watch this? But bro, this movie literally starts with a driving high-speed chase pursuit shootout between criminals and the police with real guns. Y'all know sometimes with animated movies or cartoons, they always do the lasers and all that stuff. No, The Incredibles had real deal pistols being popped at each other from cops and robbers. No. This movie has a who his side attempt in it. I don't know if I can say the word on here, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. The man tried to himself. Like, he tried to jump off a skyscraper to his death. And not only that, when Mr. Incredible saves him, you know what this man does? He sues Mr. Incredible, takes him to court about that. He was mad that Mr. Incredible saved him. You know what he said to Mr. Incredible after he saved him? He said, "You didn't save my life, you ruined my death." In a kid's movie, we got a suicide attempt and the man being ungrateful for being saved, showing that he wanted to die in that moment. The fact that he doubled down on wanting to die, talking about, "You didn't save my life, you ruined my death," that's insane. Now, I ain't even gonna spend too much time on the fact that Bon Voyage put a bomb on a kid. Now that's crazy, because you mean to tell me this man was really finna blow this kid up, like finna blow this boy to smithereens. This is a little boy, a kid, and this man put a bomb to his cape, finna blow him sky high. Well, he was already sky high flying around, but chunks would have been flying everywhere. When you really sit and think about that, that's dark as hell. Oh, let's talk about the whole lawsuit things between the supers and the city, the state, the world, whoever was beefing with the supers because they didn't want them around anymore. Gang, it was all about collateral damage. The people were mad at the supers because things were getting damaged and destroyed while they saved the day. And I'm just like, bro, are y'all really going to sit here and just rather have lives be lost and things go bad instead of having to deal with these not really minor mishaps, but for the greater good, you just gotta sacrifice some of those things, you feel me? So that whole montage with the state suing the supers, or the state, like I said, whoever wanted the supers gone, that was crazy. And I'm like, bro, kids are watching this? Now, it's not dark by any means, but it's like, you see what I'm trying to say? Like, kids really watching the whole court dispute, Supreme Court battle between two parties. It's like, okay, it's a little deep. No, did y'all ever stop to think that there's actually a cheating subplot in The Incredibles? Really sit and analyze. It all started when Bob left out with Lucius talking about they going bowling or whatever. Whole time they're in a burning building saving lives, saving people. And then he comes home late, later than what he told Helen he was going to be home. And you know what happens? Helen is sitting there in a chair waiting for him to come in, and she confronts him about it, like, where you been at, basically, like, this is way past the time you said you would be home, you feel me? And then they take the whole cheating subplot to another level when they show Helen finding a hair on Mr. Incredible's clothes. She found a strand of another woman's hair on his clothing, bro. While there's also that, right? She catches him on the phone with Mirage. And I'm like, gang, is The Incredibles really going all in with this marriage cheating subplot thing? Like, they really was starting to dive into Helen thinking Bob was cheating on her. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not in a kid's movie. I know it ain't. Yes, it was. It was in a kid's movie. Can we talk about Bob's boss, bro? Bob's boss is probably the biggest jerk in the entire movie. And I just talked about a clown mime guy tried to blow up a kid, and then Syndrome was listen, I'm gonna get into Syndrome, but Bob's boss, he was a character. First of all, he hated the fact that Bob was legit helping their customers. Mind you, you're an insurance firm or whatever it's called. You're supposed to help your clients and your customers. Why are you upset that your employee is doing his job? It was so bad that Bob had to sneak and finesse his way into helping that old lady in the beginning half of the movie. Like, he had to act like he wasn't helping her and being kind of dismissive towards her. Whole time he throwing slurs and hints and little trinkets that'll help her actually be in a better predicament. His boss is such a jerk that he has to sneak and help people, bro. Oh my God, do y'all remember when they were in the office having that meeting and he was wilding out on Bob because Bob was helping people, like I said earlier, and then Bob catches a guy getting beat up and robbed in the alley? The way his boss was carrying that whole situation was crazy. Like, bro was really stone cold heartless. And I remember when Bob was telling him, pointing it out to him, like, this man's out there getting beat up, he's getting robbed, he needs help. You know what his boss says? He says something along the lines of, well, let's hope we're not covering him, or something like that. I'm like, this guy is low-key a wicked villain. Then, when Bob was about to leave out to go help that guy getting mugged or whatever you want to call it, his boss tells him, get back here and sit down or whatever he was saying, and then basically told Bob, if you'd have left out and go help that guy, you'd have lost your job. That's why when Bob threw him through them layers of walls and all that, I ain't mad at him. I felt him. I'm glad he did that. So far at this point of a child's movie, we got a cops and robbers shootout with real pistols. We got to see a suicide attempt and the guy got mad because he was saved from offing himself. We done seen a Supreme Court lawsuit between supers and whoever else. Bon Voyage tried to off a kid with a bomb strapped to his cape trying to blow him to smithereens. Then we had the whole cheating subplot with Helen and Bob and she thinking he's sneaking off. We just talked about Bob's jerk of a boss, which is honestly pretty reflective of the real world because I know there's a lot of people with some ain't shit bosses out there, so there's that. And this movie got a little frisky at one point because y'all remember when everything was working out for Bob. I think he was doing superhero work for Syndrome without knowing or whatever, and the money was coming in, he was working out, he was getting right. I remember when Bob walked past Helen and he grabbed her butt a little bit, I said, oh, we coming like that? We got cheap cuffage in The Incredibles, in a Pixar movie, in a Disney movie. We seeing a husband cop a little fail on his wife. And not only that, we see her grab his right back. But then, y'all gotta remember, she got stretchy powers, so she could have grabbed his glutes. But what if she reached around and grabbed his, you know what? And I know y'all remember that moment when Bob leaves out the house and you see Helen's arms come out the house wrapping Mr. Incredible up, man, you feel me, pulling him back in? Y'all know what time it was. Y'all know what was going on. Y'all know what was going down. Now, let's talk about the villain of the movie, Syndrome. I ain't gonna lie, Syndrome is probably the biggest crash out in animated movie history. Because you mean to tell me this man did everything he did because he was told to go home? Because his favorite superhero didn't want him as a sidekick? Are you serious? Do y'all realize that Syndrome literally pulled off a superhero genocide? Like, he killed damn near every super. He even tells Mr. Incredible that he ran through a bunch of supers just to make an Omnidroid perfect to finish him off. So because your idol told you to go home in a dangerous situation and that he didn't want a sidekick, you took it upon yourself to create these robots and weapons that will kill every super? What? I don't think y'all understand just how crazy that sounds. Don't forget, we even see Mr. Incredible hide behind Gazer Beam's corpse, his skeleton. That's dark as hell, I ain't gonna lie, that's a little twisted. But that moment when Mr. Incredible was on that computer and he's seeing all the supers that Syndrome done killed to get to him, bro, that is one of the most spine-tingling moments in the entire movie. Because that's where you really sit and realize that Syndrome was really getting busy, wiping down supers left and right just to get to Mr. Incredible. And Syndrome is so sick because he basically practically killed Mr. Incredible's family right in front of him. We know they didn't die. We know that. But don't forget, Bob didn't know that until later. So, to his knowledge, his family is dead. His family got blown up. And Syndrome was eating it up. He was loving the pain he seen Mr. Incredible in. And at one point, Bob grabs Mirage, cuffs her up for real, and he tells Syndrome, I will crush her like a toothpick. And you know what Syndrome did? Tested Mr. Incredible's gangster. He told him, do it. Go ahead. Let me see it happen. Gang, I was like, bro, Syndrome really don't give a damn. So far from that moment alone, we found out that Syndrome killed tons of supers. He killed Mr. Incredible's family, or he was willing to kill his family. He was willing to watch his main squeeze die. He was really a twisted individual. Another moment from this movie that had me thinking to myself, like, damn, this is really kind of deep, was when Helen sat down in that cave with Violet and Dash, and she told them, like, listen, bro, these villains we're going up against, these people we going up against, they are not like the villains from the cartoons. They're not going to stop because you're kids. They're not going to let you go. They're not going to have a change of heart. When they see you and they get you, they're going to kill you. Can you imagine being a mother in that predicament telling your kids this? Like, listen, you need to be on your P's and Q's because if you're caught by these people, they're going to take away your life. And she wasn't lying because we seen the whole chase through the jungle and all that stuff between Dash and them men and them flying, spinning propeller thingies. They were real life trying to get that little boy gone. And we're not even finna get into the body count in this movie because you cannot tell me that most of them henchmen did not die in them explosions. They are gone. They are done. The body count in The Incredibles is high. But no, remember, when the one guy caught Dash, he had the blick up to him and was about to blow him. Violet jumped in front of him. And mind you, when Violet jumped in front of Dash, she didn't know how she was making the force field. She didn't know she could make that force field. So when she jumped in front of Dash, she was just willing to take them shots for her little brother. That's insane. She was willing to get her body filled up with rounds to protect her little brother. Then, remember when Violet went invisible and she was in the water and the guy was trying to find her and stuff like that? He found her. Remember, he threw the rock in the water and he found where she was at. He was about to pull that trigger and get her gone till Dash came out the cut and put them paws on him. That really made me realize, like, this movie really ain't playing. Like, they're really showing you, like, stuff can get sticky. Now, a lot of people love to talk about the end of this movie with Syndrome's death where he gets sucked into a jet turbine, and that's dark as hell. That's pretty twisted because it's like, dang, this is a kid's movie. This is a Disney movie, and we just seen the main villain get sucked into a jet turbine and watch the whole jet explode? That's crazy. But y'all gotta remember the rest of the Super's deaths we were watching when Edna was giving Bob reasons as to why he shouldn't have a cape. Mans got caught by an elevator. There was someone that got sucked up into a tornado. There was another jet turbine accident, but it was on a plane. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy deaths in this movie. So let's recap the things that happens in this movie. We see a high-speed chase shootout between cops and robbers. A man tried to jump off the roof of a skyscraper and off himself. The whole lawsuit between the supers and the people. Bon Voyage tried to blow up a kid. The cheating subplot with Helen and Bob. Bob's boss was a corrupt jerk and care about anyone but himself, reflecting the real world issues with some companies. Bob and Helen were being freaky frogs at one point. Syndrome performed a superhero genocide, wiping all of them down because of one. Syndrome attempted to kill Mr. Incredible's family right in front of his face. Well, not in front of his face, more like audio, but you get what I'm trying to say. Helen had to have that talk with her kids, letting them know that these people will kill you. These grown men will catch you and fill you up with some shots. And Syndrome got sucked into a jet turbine and it exploded. Listen, bro. The Incredibles is a great movie. I freaking love this movie. Like I said earlier in the video, I consider it to be Pixar's best movie of all time. But there's some stuff that just happens in this movie, and I'm like, was this really for kids between the ages of 8 and 13? But that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. Let me know in the comments, how do you feel about The Incredibles? Do you think it's the best Pixar movie, or you think I was tripping on that? Do you think I'm over exaggerating saying it was for a more mature audience? Or, as you should know by now, I'm just messing around because there are some very mature things in this movie. But yeah, but you know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good YouTuber chiz. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at finding.miko. Follow me on TikTok at findingmiko. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.